Leadership versus management. Is there any difference between leadership and management? Yes, these two are totally different concepts. The main difference between leadership and management is the way they motivate the people. Managers use the authoritarian style of influence, and leaders have the transformational or charismatic style of influence. Managers work for the money they get. They get the job done from their subordinates. The focus of a leader is people. He should be able to motivate people to get the job done. Managers generally avoid risks and try to avoid the arising conflicts. Leaders, on the other hand, are open to take risks and try different ways to get the task done. Managers have objectives and a leader has vision. Managers are dependent upon their subordinates, but leaders have their followers. This is one of the distinguishing factors between a leader and a manager. Management have authority to get people to work for them, while a leader has a passion and motivating power which helps him to get the job done. Common misconceptions between authority and leadership. The most common misconception about leadership is that leadership is always based upon authority. Actually, the concept of a leader depends upon how we choose to define leadership. This, in essence, is taking charge of a group to complete a task without formal authority. The concept of leadership today has changed radically. The leadership may be called as informal leadership. This leadership has no formal authoritative position. This may even escape formal acknowledgement of leadership by the group. The matter is quite unassuming. This is done subconsciously sometimes, and only an outsider can observe that a certain person is leading the group without the slightest awareness of the part of the group which is being led by him. Now, this informal leadership is simply being in charge on a temporary basis. The leader is the person who guides the direction. He may take decisions and can influence people as a conventional leader. They have only informal authority, and these leaders use personal expertise, personal magnetism, and extremely powerful persuasive skills. They do not have authority, but have a strong force of will that makes them appear an authoritative person. The second misconception about leadership is that leadership is equivalent to management. As a matter of fact, leadership is an occasional act rather than an unending role. Leadership is quite instantaneous, like a creative activity. For a good leadership, you need only good persuasive skills to make people follow the direction you want. This view clarifies the act that anyone can show occasional leadership. Leader as a godfather is yet another common misconception. This conventional outlook has changed over the years. In an age of empowerment and knowledge, every employee is needed to show informal leadership from time to time. Another of prevalent misconceptions about leadership is that leaders are born. This is not true at all. Many people who are willing to lead give this lame excuse. It's true that some people have certain qualities needed for good leadership, but it does not mean that those qualities cannot be acquired with some efforts. All of us can grow up and become good leaders. Leadership skills can be learned if you really want to be a leader. Yet another misconception about leadership is that you have to be a superhuman being to be a leader. This also is not true. Many leaders are also normal, average human beings like all of us. The only thing is to make deliberate efforts which are needed for good leadership. You're bound to make certain mistakes while trying to be a leader, but it is natural. Just think about your committed mistakes and try to avoid their recurrence. Bosses represent authority and are sometimes confused with leaders. Remember certain subtle differences and distinguish a boss from a leader. A boss generates fear, while leaders create confidence. Boss spawns resentment, while a leader generates enthusiasm among the team members. Boss will always say I, while the leader will say we. A boss blames the faults of others, and a leader helps to fix faults. Boss knows how to do, and the leader shows how to do. Under the boss, work is toil, and under a leader, work is fun. A boss drives, a leader leads.